older, new offense, to work on. How do you think that will happen?
Yeah, it's just a lot calmer, a lot more confident, and my progressions and what I know about the system and stepping out. So when I get on the grass, it's a lot less thinking. So I think that's the biggest thing is I can react, play faster, and work on some different things in my game because the focus isn't as much on what to do and what's the play call and what are all the adjustments. I know all that stuff and still study that and work on it because it's easy to forget little details. But as far as being able to work on more detailed things with the receivers and the communication with those guys as opposed to just lining up and running the play, we're a lot further ahead this year, so it's a good feeling to be able to work on more stuff. Our installs have been a lot more in depth as well because the guys have come ready to go and they know the system.
Hey Trevor, last year and also just in this offseason, you had a lot of success on that guys deep in cover. What do you like about throwing that route comic challenge when you use it?
I think the timing is something that I feel really comfortable with all of our guys. We got a lot of guys that can rip in the middle of the field, trust them to come flat and show up on time. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is trusting guys to get in that zone. And I feel like obviously there's certain coverages where they take it away, but in my opinion, there's not many. I feel like if we're on time, I throw it early. I know where the window is. I know guys are going to get there. I think I can, cut it loose in almost every look. So we have a lot of confidence throwing that. Guys running it. Guys like running that and know I'm going to put it there on time. So I think that's something we continue to develop and build off of. Obviously, you got to have compliments because I think teams know that's something that we do well. But going to continue to build on that, and that's of course going to be a big part of our offense.
Having Britton Strange be a guy who can actually go out and catch the football, how much does that sort of add to the offense, especially with the addition of Nate and the other tight ends?
Yeah, I think having a well-rounded tight end room is super important just because talk about all the different personnel groupings, and when you're trying to get a certain defensive personnel on the field and you have the ability to still throw the ball, whether it's 12 or 13, you still have a real threat in the pass game, and that's important just because then you can dictate what happens with the defense a little bit more. And when you don't, it's a little bit harder. You get a little bit more, I guess, a little bit easier to track what you're doing as far as running the ball, tendencies, all that. So I think that's going to help us with our tendencies. Going to be able to do a lot of different things, run game and pass game with the versatile tight ends we have.
I know you guys still have 2 more OTAs left, but for us, this is our last one. So just as a team, how do you assess where you guys are at right now compared to last season specifically?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about last year, and just I think there was so much new, a lot of change. Everyone is trying. It's a new staff, a bunch of new players. Everyone's trying to get on the same page, build the chemistry within our team, but also just learn the systems on both sides of the ball. So I think you see the comfort, the confidence of guys running around, knowing what to do. Obviously, there's still mistakes that we're going to learn from and build off of. But as far as guys just knowing what to do and being able to take that next step on, it's not just about what route we're running or the progression. It's now how do we get to different checks? How do we read this against this coverage? And you're just building more and more knowledge of the system and how to operate faster. And I think it's just going to make us better and better. And we've really attacked the offseason. We've got 2 more days left to do so, and but it's been great so far.
What's your focus now with 1 month off heading to training camp?
Really just continue to build off of what we started here. I know we're going to be separate and guys are going to be all over the place, and I think it's an important time. Obviously, it's such a short break. You can't really take time off, in my opinion. You might take a little bit of time off throwing just to kind of reset a little bit, but going to be back to work pretty much right away, but it's separate, so I think we have more time to work on individual things that we need to work on. For me, footwork, strength, getting in shape, all those things, staying in shape, and coming back ready to go to training camp so we can pick back up right where we left off. I think that's the biggest thing is not having to feel like you take a little bit of a step back from OTAs to training camp. You want to hit the ground running, and I'm confident we have a really mature team and guys are going to be ready.
Father's Day is this weekend. With you and Mercedes announcing baby number 2, how special is it?
Yeah, super excited. I'm gonna have another one running around later this year, so I guess I'm really excited. That's all I can say. Having a boy obviously is gonna be a little bit different. So, I mean, everyone says girls are a lot calmer, but my daughter is pretty crazy. So I'm interested to see how crazy the boy's gonna be. But we're super blessed, super grateful. Having our first, she's incredible, and just very grateful that our family's growing, and just super thankful for that.
You briefly touched on the chemistry of this unit. Have there been any steps taken on your end with all the new names from this draft class to garner a better sense of chemistry with the young guys in the building?
Yeah, I think it's trying to just learn more about those guys in the small moments outside of practice. Just catching up, seeing where they're from, just learning more about them, and that's a big part of it is building that relationship. And then obviously out here is trying to get as many reps as possible with some of the young receivers and the new tight ends that we have. So I think that's a process that is going to continue obviously into this break, and then training camp is a big time. You spend a lot of time together, so just excited to get to know those guys more. I think when you build that trust and that relationship, that's really where you see it start to blossom on the field, because it's so important, the off the field relationship. No, you're good.
I know you guys do a group trip every year. Just kind of, is that on the docket this year, and what's kind of important there? Why do you guys typically do that?
Yeah, I think trying to get guys together, like I said, everyone's in different places, and it's really more for, obviously we work and we throw and we train and we do all that stuff, but it's more for the camaraderie and getting to know each other, and especially for young guys, like we were just saying, getting to know these guys more than just the 4 hours we spend together here, because I mean we're in meetings most of the time, we're running around, we don't really have much time to catch up. So I think just getting the whole group together builds that bond and that chemistry, and it's been great over the years doing it. And I feel like guys get tighter, and you know each other a little bit better going into training camp, and I feel like it helps our team.
The increased focus on the deep ball throughout much of this offseason, like how did that materialize? Was that something you brought to the staff brought to you at the film review? Like just how do we get to that point, being the next stage of growth with the offense?
Yeah, I think it's something that is important in offense. Obviously those explosive plays down the field, and we had a lot of explosives, but it wasn't in the same way as you would think. It's not as many shots down the field vertically, it was more across the field in cuts. Maybe it's overs across the field hitting where these guys are running out the back door. So trying to find a way to take the top off the defense more, have more explosives, and because we have the skill set, we have guys that can run past DBs. I can put the ball where I need to, and those guys can go get it. So I think it was more about spending the time and just kind of perfecting that. And that's still a work in progress, but we made some big steps this offseason. And you look at throughout my career, and even 2 years ago, that was something that we did really well with BT, and we threw a lot of shots and hit a lot of those. And it got better towards the end of the season last year, but just more consistency. And there's more guys than just BT that can do it. So I think having our whole offense where it's not just BT running the shots, it could be Jacoby, Parker, Travis. I mean, even our tight ends can run. I think there's just so many different things that we can do that'll open up our offense to where we're not predictable.